We continue to inform you about the situation on the front line of the Russian-Ukrainian war. Before we begin, don't forget to like this video, write some comments and subscribe our channel to show your support for the Ukrainian people who are fighting for their future and for their freedom. In Svatovo area, the main battle continues for high ground 190.8 near Novoigorivka. The main Russian enemy forces in this area have been wiped out, but it is only a matter of time before the Russian reserves approach. Occupiers hope to repeat the events of July, but this scenario became impossible. In Bakhmut area, the Ukrainian armed forces have almost completely cleared Klishivka. Why is this a big victory? Because this is a key point that will allow Ukrainian army to take control of an important highway and put Bakhmut under fire. After that, Andriivka and Kurdyumivka are expected to fall, from where Ukrainian army can use high grounds to advance on Horlivka. At some points near Bakhmut, the occupiers are caught redeploying tanks. The Ukrainian armed forces are destroyed a lot of Russian equipment there. In Avdiivka area near Opytne, Ukrainian armed forces managed to push the Russian enemy back a bit more. Donetsk airport is just over 2 kilometers away. In Zaporizhia area, Ukrainian armed forces managed to advance west and south of Robotino. Heavy fighting continues near Novoprokopivka and Verbove. This is a photo of a trophy Russian T-90 tank captured by Ukrainian soldiers. Russia has also deployed the most combat-ready airborne troops near Robotine, and this redeployment could limit the Russian occupiers' ability to attack in other directions. Estonian General Staff submit that the armed forces of Ukraine broke through the Surovikin line in Zaporizhia area, and now the fiercest fighting continues in the area of Verbove and Novoprokopivka. This information was also approved by Deep State. They also clarified that the Ukrainian soldiers managed to advance west of Robotine. Institute for the Study of War writes that the Russian occupiers are changing the command control system, adapting the deployment of electronic warfare systems, increasing the production of laser-guided projectiles Krasnopil and drones Lancet to improve the accuracy of fire against the backdrop of the Ukrainian counteroffensive. And at the same time, the enemy continues to have problems with the leadership of the units. The Russian Ministry of Defense continues to lie about Ukrainians' losses started that over the past 3 months of the Ukrainian counteroffensive. They talk about 66,000 personnel and 7,600 tanks and armored combat vehicles. Even the vast majority of Russian analysts have concluded that these stats are absurd. First, because the Ukrainians did not even have that many troops and equipment involved in the counteroffensive. And second, to visualize this huge number of tanks and armored combat vehicles, imagine them as standing back to back in a single line. Now place all these tanks between Robotino and the initial line of contact, which is more than 4 kilometers. It would be necessary to create more than 10 rows of destroyed equipment. It seems that the Russian Ministry of Defense is trying to conduct an information operation aimed primarily against Russians. The purpose of this information operation is to hide Russian losses of equipment and personnel, as well as to hide its inability to hold the second line of defense, which was recently broken by Ukrainian army near Verbove. In fact, today Russian counteroffensive has made very little progress, with Russian troops managing to push Ukrainians out of only one field south of Robotine. None of the Russian analysts mentioned recapturing the strong fortification on the hill south of Robotino, which play a key role in controlling the entire region. So the Russians did not capture any strong positions that would allow them to hold on even these minor gains. Some of Russian analysts have provided more detailed information about the operation and reported that the Russian assault unit came under heavy fire from Ukrainian artillery and tried to retreat. However, it was not mentioned that the Russian troops were not allowed to retreat. After the battle, Ukrainians captured one wounded Russian marine from the 810th Marine Brigade. Russian soldier claimed that when his unit decided to retreat, their own artillery started firing right behind them, creating a wall of fire in their backs and forcing the soldiers to stay and fight for their positions. He said that he had no doubt that it was not a mistake, because the artillery initially hit the right targets, and only after they started to retreat did the shelling shift in their direction. All of this was happening under the constant supervision of Russian drones, which were constantly adjusting their fire. This is how Ukraine continues to fight for its future and for its freedom. Please do not stand aside. Support Ukraine. Like this video, write some comments and subscribe this channel.